किसान मजदूर इन्हीं के सहकारिता जगत से हम लोग का आय प्राप्त होता है और उसी आय से हम लोग को जीविका करती है। बिहार में कोई रोजगार नहीं मिला और सहकारिता जगत से हम लोग जीते हैं। हम लोग यहाँ गांधीवादी हैं, चंपारण के धरती से आए हुए हैं।
क्या
क्यों बैठ गए?
जमीन पर बैठे हुए हैं कि हमारे जो सर है कोऑपरेटिव के नेता है, हम लोग भी कोऑपरेटिव से जुड़े हुए लोग हैं, हम लोग जमीन से जुड़ने वाले लोग हैं। अभी कोऑपरेटिव के हमारे 20,000 कार्यकर्ता जो है हमारे कोऑपरेटिव संस्था से जुड़े हुए सब लोग यहाँ पहुँचेंगे। हम लोग कोऑपरेटिव से किसानों की भला करने वाले लोग हैं। मछली पालन हो चाहे कोई भी हो, कोऑपरेटिव सेक्टर से जुड़ा हुआ वो सब लोग हम लोग मिल के करते हैं। ये चीज के लिए सुनील बाबू एकदम स्वच्छ छवि के लोग हैं, लेकिन इस चीज को लेकर माननीय बीजेपी पार्टी जो लोग हैं, वो जो विजय कुमार सिन्हा जो अध्यक्ष पद से इस्तीफा नहीं दिए हैं विधानसभा में, अविश्वास प्रस्ताव जो लग रहा है, उसी कारण आज बिहार में जहां भी देख रहे होंगे उसी के कारण है, दूसरा कुछ नहीं है। सब उसी के कारण डरा झपका के कि टाइम तक ले ये सब हो, उसके बाद हम लोग अपना सुरक्षित हो जाए।
वीडियो भेज दीजिए मोबाइल पर।
All right, so Prakash Singh over there bringing us those details of what's taking place. There are people from the RJD who are beginning to gather outside the residence of the RJD treasurer's home. Of course, what we are also seeing is the RJD and the JDU come out and say that this is vendetta politics that is being practiced by the centre. We were speaking, of course, to several of those RJD leaders who made it extremely clear that they see this as vendetta politics coming as it does on the day of the new government essentially proving its majority in the House. I'm going to go back across to Prakash Singh on this one. Prakash, you know, the CBI, of course, is conducting these raids in the land for jobs scam. That's what we are learning. We are also learning right now, as you were pointing out, that perhaps there could be more investigations in the land for job scam.
Well, the land for job scam is an open and shut case. That's what we have been hearing since 5 years. But there's been no, as far as trial is concerned, it's not been expedited as yet. One doesn't know the reason, because the CBI conducts raid, it doesn't expedite the cases, maybe for political reasons, maybe for back channel negotiations. That's how it has been happening in the recent past. That's what we get to know. And but maybe now with the change of government, it may be expedited. But it's an open and shut case, and there are enough evidence against Lalu Yadav, Rabdi Devi, Tejasvi Yadav as well, signing on one of the checks that the CBI had recovered. We had reported on a larger scale in 2017 on the land for job scam. Republic TV had unearthed many papers, documents, and that led to the fall of the Mahagathbandhan government then. But yes, land for job scam is also one of the reasons. The reason is Sunil Singh's alliance with close alliance with RJD chief Lalu Yadav and Rabdi Devi, Tejasvi Yadav. He's the treasurer of the party, as well as Asfaq Karim, who is a RJD Rajya Sabha member. He runs a medical college. Third is Subodh Rai, a former MLC of the RJD who lost the elections, but he also has his business. So all these raids are being conducted, and we have been apprehending all this for quite some time, that something big might happen in Bihar, and this is just the beginning, I suppose. Many right. Skeletons are yet to be unearthed as far as this high voltage political drama in Bihar is concerned, because Bihar is a very critical state in the run-up to the 2024 elections.
All right, Prakash, do stay with us. In fact, we are now going to play out a visual of what really happened when these raids began.
और ये लोग एक हमको कागज प्रोड्यूस कर रहा है तलाशी ले, हम बोले कि भाई पहले बैठिए आपस ठीक से तो जो नहीं आप ये देखते ना, ये देखिए ना, अच्छा दस्तखत कैसे कर दे भाई, पहले आप बताइए क्या क्या है नहीं है, और हमारा कोई आदमी नहीं है, आप अगर नहीं आप बोले समझ समझ ऐसे खत्म कर देंगे अंदर, हमारा कोई आदमी सर बोलिए बोलिए सर क्यों आ जाएंगे अंदर, उसके अंदर नहीं आएंगे। क्या क्या हमारा दो बेटा है और हमारी वाइफ है। हम किसी आदमी को हम देखेंगे ना, बुलाएंगे ना, मान लिया
चुप होना जाके बदलो ना
यार, पुलिस को बुलाइए, उसके साथ कराइए, उसके सामने कराइए,
थाना को खबर करना चाहिए।
थाना को बुलाइए भाई, आपको कौन जानता है?
आपको लग रहा है कि जानबूझ के 100% जानबूझ करके, कोई मतलब नहीं है इसका। कौन नहीं जानता है भाई हमारे बारे में? चोरी चमारी करते हैं क्या? आपके ऊपर क्या आरोप लगा रहे हैं ये लोग?
क्या मिलेगा?
क्या घर में ये लोग हैं, हम बाहर हैं।
आपके पास क्या क्या रखे हैं?
अरे अभी सामने में ना है, सब लोग रहिएगा ना, देखिएगा कि क्या यहाँ
कौन लोग हैं? कौन लोग हैं इसके पीछे? कौन लोग हैं इसके पीछे? कौन लोग
है? मामला और कहीं है। इन लोग का विधानसभा का जो मामला है, उसको हर एक जगह लोग थ्रेट करके चल रहा है कि एक जगह रेड करें, 2 जगह रेड करेंगे तो डर के मारे आधा विधायक भाग जाएंगे और हम अपना जो करना है कर लेंगे। और क्या मतलब है? सब राजनीतिक है। आज ही का दिन क्यों चुना गया? आज का दिन क्यों चुना?
मतलब ये पॉलिटिकल साजिश है? पॉलिटिकल साजिश है क्या?
बोलता है कि साइन कीजिए, कागज पर साइन कीजिए।
ये क्या पॉलिटिकल साजिश है आज के दिन?
और क्या आपके मामला आपको नजर आ रहा है क्या? दूसरा भी मामला है क्या?
जैसे सुनील सिंह
देश की सहकारिता में है, 18 वर्षों में हमारा दरवाजा खुला रहता है। हमारे यहाँ सभी लोग जानते हैं कि कोई आदमी आकर के घूस जा सकता है बगैर डायरेक्ट करिए। CBI जाइए, हम CBI से आए, हमने स्वागत किया, जाइए आपको जो चाहिए हम देने के लिए तैयार हैं।
First response that we got from Sunil Singh, of course. Let me go back on the ground across to Prakash, who's breaking down the story for us. Prakash, this also comes in the backdrop of a face-off of sorts that we've seen between the BJP and the JDU over the Bihar Speaker Vijay Kumar Sinha. Now, there were reports that seem to suggest that he's going to be presiding over the motion that takes place today over the trust vote. What are you hearing on that?
Well, as far as the trust vote is concerned, that will happen at 11 a.m. this morning. And what we got to know yesterday, that there's going to be a face-off and maybe some arm twisting, a scuffle in the Bihar Vidhan Sabha today. And that is also going to be power packed throughout the day, because Vijay Sinha, the Speaker of the Bihar Vidhan Sabha, is not willing to resign. And as far as the agendas are concerned in the Bihar Vidhan Sabha, number 1 on the agenda is the Speaker's address. That is going to be high voltage again, because he will speak his mind against Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar, because he was also one of the reasons for the fall of this government. And second would be the no confidence motion against the Speaker, and then the RJD as well as the Mahagathbandhan leaders would stand in the House, and the quorum has to be 38 members, and thereafter he will not be allowed to speak, and he will have to sit as a member in the House, and thereafter the Deputy Speaker will chair the meeting. And of course the numbers are in favor of Mahagathbandhan. He will be removed from the post of Speaker, but then there will be speeches made by members of the House. So everything happening here in Bihar, and these raids are being conducted at Sunil Singh's residence here in Patna. And we also get to know that there are 3 other leaders: Asfaq Karim, who runs a medical college as well as he's a Rajya Sabha member. Second is Fayaz Ahmad, who has been recently nominated to the Rajya Sabha, and he also runs a medical college. And third is Subodh Roy, MLC, or former MLC of the RJD. He's also a businessman. So every leader having some association with business is being raided. And one understands in politics that how business people gets into Rajya Sabha or MLC. We do not need to divulge all those details, because transactions do happen, and the CBI as well as the investigating agencies is looking at all those angles as to how they got into the Rajya Sabha, what kind of money trail was done, and the way the medical colleges are being run. And Sunil Singh has been the treasurer of RJD for quite some time. And he's been the closest confidant of Lalu Yadav even in his bad days. Even in 2010, when RJD was relegated to 22 MLAs in the Bihar Vidhan Sabha, then also Sunil Singh remained with Lalu, and he was made the MLC recently last year. And he was also in the contention of becoming a minister, but he's been with the family for quite some time. They belong to the same belt, and we get to know that he's been managing his finances as well. That's what the allegations are. And everybody has been apprehending all this to happen ahead of the trust vote. But yes, raids are being conducted. And RJD in deep trouble now.
Right.
They need to do all the explanations.
Absolutely. Prakash, as you're pointing out, these raids did come as a bit of a surprise, did they not? Because, you know, the police over there that you were speaking to seemed to suggest that they had no idea that this was going to happen and that the CBI team was going to conduct raids at these 3 homes. You were earlier, of course, explaining to us how close Sunil Singh is seen to be to Lalu Prasad Yadav. So in that sense, is this being seen as a message being sent?
Well, yes, it's a message, and a political message, that if you trouble us, we will trouble you. And every politician has some gray areas, because we all understand in the system how politics is done and what kind of money transactions do take place. So if you uncover any politician, then this is bound to happen. And Sunil Singh is not an exception. So time and again there's been demand for state funding, and therein lies the catch. So we will not go into all those details, but RJD leaders, Sunil Singh's residence is being raided, and the RJD leaders as well as the JDU has been apprehending this. Even JDU leaders have been saying it on record for quite some time that we are not scared of the ED and the CBI. And Sunil Singh earlier in the morning from his terrace clearly stated the fact that the CBI or the ED team will not be able to recover anything from his residence. That's what he has been saying, and his wife was also categorically saying that she will file a defamation case if they do not recover anything. So even every political leader were saying this, they were provoking the central government, and there you are. The CBI raid takes place. Maybe they may unearth something, for sure, because as I said, every politician do have some grey areas.
Right.
And Sunil Singh, since he has been very close to Lalu, he's been managing the funds, he's been the treasurer of the RJD, chairman of the Viscoman, and everybody in Patna or Bihar knows that how close he is to Lalu and Rabdi.
Right now, Prakash, also can you give us more details of this land for jobs scam? Now, this is something that the CBI has been investigating for a while. You yourself have carried out an investigation for Republic TV into this scam. Now, take our viewers through the details of that as well, please.
Recently, there were raids conducted at various places, and Bhola Yadav, again one of the closest confidant of Lalu Yadav, who was one of the signatories on various gifts of land, various gifts that the lands were gifted to Lalu Yadav's family members, including his sons.
All right,
and
Prakash,
wife.
I'm going to have to interrupt you there. Do stay with us. Joining us on the phone line is Manish Barrier. He's the JDU leader on the phone. And Prakash, you can also join in with this conversation that we're having with him. Mr. Barrier, good morning. Thank you for speaking to us on Republic. To begin with, how do you see these raids coming as they do on the day that the floor test is to take place in the Bihar Assembly?
First, I would like to correct you. I'm no more with JDU. I resigned from JDU, 2 weeks back. But as far as the question is concerned, I think, it is just the law taking its own course. If someone who is indulged in corruption or any other activity, CBI has to, file a charge sheet. CBI has to really raid. So So I don't see any connection between what's going to happen in Assembly today and what the raids are like that. So you can take these raids as a raid against, corruption at high level as it happens in any part of the country. So I don't see it being related as such.
But the RJD, of course, at this point in time is saying that the timing of this is suspect. They say that we knew that something like this was going to happen. And the JDU also has said that they believe that this is political vendetta. But the other side of the story also, Mr. Baria, is the fact that this is a case that is being investigated by the CBI for a while now.
Absolutely. And, it is just coincidental. My point is that why do you have corrupt people in your party? Don't give them a chance. Right? CBI cannot raid in isolation. CBI cannot raid in vacuum. Only if some case is there is when these kind of raids happen. And it is yet to be seen as to what is the logical conclusion of these raids. But let's take up if something incriminating comes out. Then what kind of, locus standi for JDU and RJD would be there? So I don't think, the entire opposition talking about that this raid is actually politically motivated is something which is baseless. Because, and I must tell you that there are more raids are going to come, right? Because Bihar has been sitting on that powder cake for a long period of time now. And, informally people have been aware of lot of misappropriation of funds over a period of time. So you wait and see. You will see more raids now.
All right, Mr. Baria, appreciate you speaking to us on Republic TV. Thank you very much for joining us. So raids simultaneously be conducted at 3 RJD leaders' residences in Patna. The RJD, of course, calls this political vendetta. But as Mr. Baria was saying, there is no smoke without fire. That's the official explanation that we are getting for these raids. The Land for Jobs scam has been investigated for the CBI for quite some time now. And we are cutting across to very interesting visuals that we are getting of the trials of the Pinaka extended range rocket that are going on at the Pokhran firing range in Rajasthan, and multiple successful test firings that have been carried out during these steps. Now, developed by the DRDO, the rockets are produced by a private sector firm.
Fire!
Going to be more trouble for Aam Aadmi Party, as we are seeing that Nitish Kumar is already under the radar of CBI. Deputy Chief Minister is summoned, and this is in the defamation case which was filed by Hemanta Biswa Sarma. The allegation which was raised in by Deputy Chief Minister of Delhi, that's Manish Sisodia, and now the court has given the order, and now Manish Sisodia has to be there on 29th of September in this particular defamation case.
मनीष जी को कहा गया कि आप भारतीय जनता पार्टी में आ जाइए, आपको मुख्यमंत्री का उम्मीदवार बनाएंगे, आम आदमी पार्टी की सरकार गिरानी है। भारतीय जनता पार्टी का ऑपरेशन लोटस दिल्ली के अंदर दूसरी बार हमने फेल किया।
जब एक्साइज डिपार्टमेंट ने आपको इस प्रकार का नोटिस दिया तो आपने संबंधित कार्रवाई क्यों नहीं की?
These were the visuals of the quarter guard ceremony here at Mechuka unit, the 13th Grenadiers.
We keep our boys extremely fit and motivated with the different levels of training in our battalion.
Welfare and defense of country comes always first.
Indian Army never leaves behind any one of them. When the Operation Meghdut started, there were several of the soldiers which went missing in action because of the avalanche. 38 years later, during a patrol party at Shankar Top, they essentially came across the mortal remains of Lance Naik Chandrasekhar of 19 Kumaon.
If you look in India, we are well on our way to
जमीन के बदले नौकरी का मामला है। आपके पिताजी से कुछ तो सवाल हो रहा है। डॉक्यूमेंट
चलो आओ जाओ. So there you have Sunil Singh's son, Tejasvi. His name is also Tejasvi. He says that 8 people are inside the residence of life. 8 people are inside the residence. The CBI is raiding, and there you see. Udhar dekho. Aao, aao.
ये कौन स्टाफ है? मामला क्या बताया जा रहा है? मामला क्या बताया जा रहा है?
मामला भी नहीं है, परेशानी है कि करीबी हैं आप, समझ किसी करीबी हैं तो मारना है कि आपका भी नाम सस्पेक्शन में आ गया है।
किस मामले में हो रहा है?
अरे
किस मामले में?
अरे
कन्फेशन किस मामले में? कन्फेशन किस मामले में कर?
कि आप उनका ये बोलना है कि आपका भी नाम सूची में आया है कि अपनी करीबी है तो हम आगे कर रहे हैं, बस ये हमारा
किस सूची में? किस सूची में?
अरे करीबी प्रकाश क्या आप भी उनके करीबी हैं तो आपका नाम ऊपर से लिस्ट जिनसे लोगों को आया है, सब जगह रेट चल रहा है, जो लालू जी करीबी हैं, बस इनका यही मामला है।
सीबीआई ने कहा कि लालू के करीबी हैं।
यही मामला है। पापा क्या करते हैं?
जमीन के बदले नौकरी को लेकर पूछताछ हो रही है क्या? जमीन के बदले नौकरी
कुछ नहीं, वो सब कुछ नहीं, वो सब बेकार बात।
अच्छा, कोई डॉक्यूमेंट है जिसपे साइन करने को बोला है?
देख रहे कौन सा 10 पुराना डॉक्यूमेंट था ना, हिसाब किताब का बहुत हिसाब किताब होता है जो उसी का देख रहा अच्छा चाहिए।
अच्छा, कहीं ऐसा तो नहीं है कि आरजेडी में कोषाध्यक्ष बनाया गया इसीलिए रिलेट कर पार्टी के ट्रेजर के नाते
लोग बस रिलेट कर रहे हैं कि लालू जी
देखिए गेट खुला, एक और व्यक्ति दिखाई दे रहे हैं। हाँ, क्या वो सीबीआई के आदमी है? अच्छा, देखिए बात हो रही थी लेकिन
So there we have Sunil Singh's son, Tejasvi, alleging that the CBI is saying that just because you are Lalu Yadav's close confidant, that is why your house is being raided. And he also went on to say that everybody knows why the house is being raided. So I'm joined by a young Congress leader, Jayesh Singh. Jayesh, how do you see these raids that is happening here in Patna?
This is extremely sad because people who are working, I mean Sunil Singh is well known as called as a god of farmers because जो यूरिया which we get for 265 rupees for the farmers, it's one of the blessing that he gives. Right now I believe the country is facing Hitler Shahi. जो लोग काम कर रहे हैं, people who are working, people who are in opposition, this is the major skill used by the present government to harass, to just break the confidence of the leaders in the opposition. So it's extremely sad. We all are here because we all are supportive. He is the voice of the farmers.
लेकिन Jayesh, the raids can be conducted at Rajya Sabha MP Asfaq Karim, Fayaz Ahmad, Subodh Rai. We all know that how people get into Rajya Sabha. Money trail do happen. So maybe it might be in that connection. It might be in land for jobs connection as well because Sunil Singh has been a very close confidant of Lalu Yadav. So has been the other 3 politicians.
Ji, very true. But what I know about Sunil ji, because he's like a family to me. What effect, what attention he takes to the farmers, what attention he takes to the normal values to the public. He is renowned to be a man of ground. and I personally can say that this is all because of the harassment. He's one of the member who's very close to Lalu Prasad Yadav's family, and just to harass to the government, this all propaganda and Hitler Shahi has been taken on the ground.
So there you have a young Congress leader. We all heard what Sunil Singh's son Tejasvi was saying from the balcony, and one of the CBI officers took him again back to the room because he was saying that the CBI is conducting raids because we have been given a list and you are close to Lalu family. That is why your house is being raided. So it's allegations and counter allegations here. So here we see that the raids are being conducted at Sunil Singh's residence here in Patna. So are the raids being conducted at Asfaq Karim, the Rajya Sabha member of the RJD, as well as Fayaz Ahmad, the Rajya Sabha member of RJD, who's been recently nominated. Both this Asfaq Karim and Fayaz Ahmad, I repeat, they run medical colleges. They have been recently nominated to the Rajya Sabha. Subodh Rai, a former MLC of the RJD, and he's also a businessman. So these raids are being conducted at a very crucial point where the Bihar government is all set for floor test today, and there is likely to be a face-off between the speaker and the deputy speaker in the house, and as well as the ruling party and the opposition party, because there are 164 members in the Mahagathbandhan, and it is likely that Speaker Vijay Sinha will be removed from the post of the speaker. He belongs to the BJP. Before that, there will be political speeches in the house. So all this is being done maybe in that correction. That's what the RJD is alleging. We expect some more drama to unfold in Bihar in the days to come. This is just the beginning, and it's just the tip of the iceberg. The investigative agencies may recover something from these residences and the raids that are being conducted. But as far as the land for jobs scams are concerned, there were land transferred in Lalu's kith and kin, and the CBI and the ED have evidences against all the family members, and one of the key witnesses is being Bhola Yadav, who was the witness, and he's been jailed recently he was arrested by the CBI, and more escalators are to be uncovered in this particular case. Back to you.
I saw that 2 days before, two of the ministers lost their portfolio. Revenue and PWD minister lost their portfolio.
वाली है तो सीबीआई ईडी से शक्ति परीक्षण करवा रहे हैं, विधायकों की संख्या नहीं, लेकिन बिहार में कुचक्र रचा जा रहा है। ये लोकतंत्र की भूमि है। सीबीआई ईडी जैसी दर्जनों सैकड़ों संस्थाओं को ले आओगे, लेकिन दुनिया में कोई माई का लाल पैदा नहीं लिया है जो बिहार में विधायकों को, जो महागठबंधन का सरकार बना है, उस पर कोई दबाव बना सके। इसलिए भ्रम में मत रहिए, जनता सब कुछ देख रही है।
So, well, it's the land for jobs scam and action by central agencies. Since this morning, 3 RJD netas under the scanner. Crackdown in Patna. News breaking here on Republic. And prominent RJD leaders under the scanner in the land for jobs scam. Among them is MP Fayaz Ahmad, Asfaq Karim and Sunil Singh. And Prakash, our senior editor, special projects, joining us from Patna for all the latest on this. Prakash, it's over to you. What's happening there? Even as we speak, a mega crackdown on corruption in Bihar in the land for jobs scam.
Well, yes, it was expected. It was expected. This is nothing surprising. We were all apprehending this for quite some time, and I'm surprised there were few other names also that the CBI has missed out on. So maybe in future those houses would be raided. It has become quite predictable, I can say now. But as far as the political drama is concerned, here in Bihar, ahead of the floor test, CBI is conducting raids at various places across Bihar and Jharkhand, and most prominently being the RJD leaders' residence in Patna. Those includes the Sunil Singh, who is the RJD MLC, as well as the treasurer of the RJD, and a very close confidant of Lalu Yadav. And a moment back, we also heard from Tejasvi, the son of Sunil Singh, saying that the CBI has come with a notebook, and they say that the house is being raided just because you are in that list of people whose house is to be raided, and because you are close to Lalu Yadav. But of course the CBI would be having some reason to raid the house of Sunil Singh, maybe because of the land for job scam, or maybe because of some illegal transactions that have taken place, because in politics there are all kinds of back channel deals that do happen between politicians and other people. So we'll get to know the details later on, but it may be because we are assuming that it may be because for land for job scam, it may be because of the illegal transactions, maybe Sunil Singh would have done some transaction at the behest of Lalu Yadav and the family members. Now that Tejasvi is in the saddle during the course of the elections, then Ashfaq Karim's house is being raided. Ashfaq Karim is a Rajya Sabha MP and he runs a medical college. Maybe the transactions of how he got into the Rajya Sabha would also be would be investigated upon, as well as Fayaz Ahmad, the Rajya Sabha MP who's been recently nominated to the Rajya Sabha, may be investigated upon. Maybe investigated upon, and as well as Subodh Rai, the RJD MLC, his financial transactions would be also investigated upon. So all these cases would lead to corruption charges for sure, because the CBI would be expecting to recover something from their residences for sure, and that's what we get to know. That, and the CBI, what Sunil Singh's son told us a moment back, that they are looking at the various papers, documents, and Sunil Singh's son Tejasvi was alleging that they haven't recovered anything as yet, but I'm sure the CBI would have done its homework for sure before conducting raids, as it did in the case of Bhola Yadav. That Bhola Yadav was one of the key witness and signatory in most of the gift deeds in terms of land which were gifted to Lalu Yadav's family members, his sons and daughters, pertaining to the land for job scam. So maybe the CBI would be trying to club pieces together, and maybe they would have got something from Bhola Yadav, who is also one of the key witness and one of the prime accused in this particular case. So the CBI would be trying to put all pieces together, gather the information, corroborate evidences in the land for job scam. So these cases are going on for quite some time, maybe because of COVID. In the Patiala court, the trial cases were delayed, and Tejasvi Yadav is also one of the accused in all those cases, because the CBI then in 2017 had recovered one of the checks in which Tejasvi Yadav was the signatory, and everybody says that it's an open and shut case. So lands for job scam, in the land for job scam, there were many plots of land which were seized by the ED and the CBI. Then it's confiscated because those lands were gifted, and in lieu of that, in lieu of those lands, a few hotels were constructed, and the hoteliers had gifted those land. So, one was land for job scam, one was land for hotel scam in the IRCTC. So the CBI has expedited its investigation. They are trying to gather more information so that in the trial cases they can provide some more evidence as to they're trying to gather some more information as to what are the other investigating angle that can be looked upon. There we have one of the MLAs of
अब लेकिन हम लोग डरने उड़ने वाले नहीं हैं किसी भी
कहाँ पहुँचे? आपको तो विधानसभा में होना चाहिए।
हाँ तो जाएंगे हम लोग विधानसभा तो जाएंगे, विधानसभा जाएंगे ही। अरे आप लोग जो टीवी नहीं आप लोग जो टीवी पर दिखा रहे थे उसी को देख करके हम लोग
मामला क्या है? जमीन के बदले नौकरी की मामला है? क्या मामला है?
कोई मामला नहीं है, ये राजनीतिक घटनाक्रम को प्रभावित करने का प्रयास हो रहा है और कोई मामला नहीं।
फ्लोर टेस्ट में क्या लग रहा है? विधायक इससे डर जाएंगे? आपको
कोई नहीं डरेंगे, सुई के नोक बराबर भी डरने वाले नहीं है। हम लोग पूरी तरह मुस्तैद हैं और हम लोग जीतेंगे।
17 जगह छापेमारी हो रही है।
17 जगह नहीं, 164 जगह छापेमारी हो, उससे कोई अंतर होने वाला नहीं।
अच्छा, लालू जी ने कल आगाह किया था कि भाजपा कुछ ऐसी रणनीति।
कोई आगाह नहीं किया था, लेकिन आप लोग जो हम लोग को टीवी पर दिखा रहे थे वही देख के हम लोग को संज्ञान में आया।
क्या कहा था तेजस्वी यादव ने मीटिंग?
कुछ नहीं मैं
क्या मीटिंग के दौरान
कुछ नहीं कहा गया था, यही कि हम लोगों को सही समय पे विधानसभा में पहुंचना है।
क्या ये मामला हो सकता है? कोषाध्यक्ष है पार्टी के,
कोषाध्यक्ष भी तो है सुनील सिंह।
कुछ नहीं
ये जो टाइमिंग है, ये टाइमिंग है बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है।
चलो
विधानसभा में पहुंचेंगे आज। हम लोग अभी पहुंच रहे हैं।
क्या इस कार्रवाई का विरोध करेंगे विधानसभा में?
समय मिलेगा एकदम विरोध करेंगे संवैधानिक रूप से।
ये जो छापे का मामला है,
संवैधानिक रूप से हम लोग पूरी तरह विरोध करेंगे।
विधानसभा में भी उठाएंगे।
कौन है भाई? चितरंजन राजन है कि गगन? ये जो रेड्स हो रहे हैं ये किस संदर्भ में हो रहे हैं? क्या आपको लगता है कि ये लैंड फॉर जॉब स्कैम के लिए रेड्स हो रहे हैं?
देखिए, यह जो है सो पहले से हम लोग को अनुमान था कि आज जो है सो विश्वास मत प्राप्त करना है, विधानसभा अध्यक्ष के खिलाफ विश्वास का प्रस्ताव है, और जिस ढंग से भाजपा में बेचैनी है तो हम लोग तो समझ रहे थे कि जिस ढंग से विरोधी को परेशान करने के लिए CBI, ED, IT इसका इस्तेमाल हो रहा है, तो हम लोग समझ रहे थे कि हाँ साहब तो मैंने कुछ होगा। और आज के बारे में तो खासकर हम लोग को अनुमान था कि आज जो है सो विधानसभा में विश्वास मत प्राप्त करना है सरकार को, विधानसभा अध्यक्ष के खिलाफ अविश्वास प्रस्ताव है, तो ये तो पूर्वानुमानित था कि ढंग से घटनाएं होगी। जिस जो रवैया केंद्र सरकार ने अपनाया है जिस ढंग से इस एजेंसियों का दुरुपयोग करने का, तो यह कोई अनहोनी बात हम लोग नहीं मानते, लेकिन कुछ इसका परिणाम कुछ निकलने वाला नहीं है। कहीं न कहीं यह भाजपा को इसे घाटा होने वाला है, और जनमानस में जो भावना जो मैसेज जा रहा है इसका परिणाम भाजपा को भुगतना होगा।
नहीं तो लेकिन लैंड फॉर जॉब स्कैम में गगन जी ये तो सर्वविदित है कि अभी भोला यादव की गिरफ्तारी हुई जिसमें कि विटनेस थे, वो कई जो गिफ्ट्स हुए थे लैंड उसमें विटनेस थे, तो उसी कड़ी में इन सभी जगहों पर रेड किए जा रहे हैं। तो क्या आपको लगता है कि लैंड फॉर जॉब स्कैम या लैंड फॉर होटल स्कैम जो है वो गलत है?
नहीं, देखिए जो परिस्थिति होती है, किस परिस्थिति में समय और परिस्थिति दो चीज को देखा जाता है। तो जो समय है, जो परिस्थिति है, वह जो है सीधे तौर पर यह स्पष्ट करती है कि अब 22 होकर हो रहा है, चाहे कुछ किसी स्कैम का नाम दे कि यहाँ फलना घोटाला, फलना स्कैम, उन सब से कोई असर पड़ने वाला नहीं है। और जो है सो जनता जो है सो इस सब बातों को समझ रही है। और बिहार जो है, बिहार में जो बदलाव शुरू हुआ है, इसका परिणाम उन्हें दिखाई पड़ेगा। बिहार लोकतंत्र की जननी है। यह 74 में भी इंदिरा गांधी इसी भ्रम में थी, 77 में जब वो चुनाव करवाई थी तो इसी भ्रम में थी, लेकिन जब वोट हुआ तो उनको जो अंदाज हो गया, वही स्थिति भाजपा की होने वाली है। वो भ्रम में है, लेकिन जब भी चुनाव होगा उनको पता चल जाएगा। यहाँ की जनता इन सब चीजों को समझती है, चुप जरूर रहती है, मौन जरूर रहती है, लेकिन समय आने पर उसका जवाब देना जानती है जनता।
धन्यवाद गगन जी। सो फॉर मोर न्यूज एंड अपडेट्स कीप वॉचिंग रिपब्लिक टीवी।
Amity University Dubai has been awarded as the best university campus in the Middle East by Forbes magazine and recognized as the best university for job placements. Jumpstart your global career in Dubai with Amity, with faculty and students from over 50 nationalities. Visit amity.edu/Dubai.
Now, much as the AAP tries to, the liquor scam isn't going away. It's not going to go away. Yesterday, the AAP spokesperson tried to deflect. So tonight, I am back. And I'm back on public demand, on your demand, with some really specific questions to the AAP on the liquor scam, on Liquorgate. And I will try my very best to extract an answer. And I think the AAP should answer my specific questions, because Kejriwal entered public life on the back of the anger against corruption in the country in 2010-11. And at that time, I was leading the exposés on corruption in the UPA. And in fact, at that time, Kejriwal lauded and kept quoting details of my exposés, my specific questions. So tonight, his representatives must answer the specific questions I ask, not dodge and not deflect. Corruption is a big issue. It burns the hearts of the people of this country to see the financial mafia, the political mafia, and the liquor mafia loot at the expense of the Aam Aadmi. You can give people all the freebies you want, but the questions on the liquor mafia are not going away. And viewers, if India's only and only independent and independently owned news network does not ask these questions, then who will? That's why this edition of the Liquorgate debate with my specific questions is very significant. And I hope that you will participate by telling me whether you're convinced or not, using any interactive tool that is next to you. So, ladies and gentlemen,
you're watching live and breaking on Republic. So raids on at RJD Rajya Sabha MP Ashfaq Karim's residence as well. In fact, 3 RJD netas under the scanner, as a mega action is being undertaken in separate cases by central agencies, the ED and the CBI. Sunil Singh, among the first of the RJD leaders, he's an RJD MLC in Patna. His home was one of the first to be raided. He is Lalu Prasad Yadav's very close aide. And RJD leader Sunil Singh there on your screens. And it's over to Prakash for the latest updates. Well, it's time now for a short break, but we are on Republic tracking this story. The Land for Jobs scan raids on at multiple locations in Patna.
मनीष जी को कहा गया कि आप भारतीय जनता पार्टी में आ जाइए, आपको मुख्यमंत्री का उम्मीदवार बनाएंगे, आम आदमी पार्टी की सरकार गिरानी है। भारतीय जनता पार्टी का ऑपरेशन लोटस दिल्ली के अंदर दूसरी बार हमने फेल किया।
जब एक्साइज डिपार्टमेंट ने आपको इस प्रकार का नोटिस दिया तो आपने संबंधित कार्रवाई क्यों नहीं की?
These were the visuals of the quarter guard ceremony here at Mechuka unit, the 13th Grenadiers.
We keep our boys extremely fit and motivated with the different levels of training in our battalion.
Welfare and defense of country comes always first.
Indian Army never leaves behind any one of them. When the Operation Meghdoot started, there were several of the soldiers which went missing in action because of the avalanche. 38 years later, during a patrol party at Ashankar Top, they essentially came across the mortal remains of Lance Naik Chandrasekhar of 19 Kumaon.
If you look in India, we are well on our way to Raj 2.0, run out of Delhi instead of run out of London.
Tamil Nadu Finance Minister Thiagarajan has sparked a massive roar, compared the Modi government to the British Raj. He was speaking at the Oxford Union address.
There you can see a large number of Congress workers are being detained. They are outside the Congress headquarters. There is a large number of protest workers who are being denied over here. They are saying that they will fight till the very end.
Ever since the formation of the Mahagathbandhan government in Bihar, we have been witnessing the rise in the crime graph. It seems that the administration is blindfolded to all these incidences. A firing has taken place in which one person was shot dead and one injured as well, and we got CCTV footage of incident. And day in and day out, incidences like this are occurring in different parts of Bihar.
Going to be more trouble for Aam Aadmi Party, as we are seeing that Manish Sismodia is already under the radar of CBI. Deputy Chief Minister is summoned, and this is in the defamation case which was filed by Hemanta Biswa Sarma. The allegation which was raised in by Deputy Chief Minister of Delhi, that's Manish Sismodia, and now the court has given the order, and now Manish Sismodia has to be there on 29th of September in this particular defamation case.
Live and breaking and latest updates coming in on the Land for Jobs scam. Mega action by central agencies since the morning began. Action by central agencies against 3 RJD netas who are under the scanner. Among them, as you see on your screens, Sunil Singh, very close aide of Lalu Prasad Yadav, RJD MLC. Mega crackdown in Patna against corruption. Prominent RJD leaders under the scanner. More names expected. Among them, MP Fayaz Ahmed. His home is also being raided. Also, Ahmed Ashfaq Karim, as well as Sunil Singh. Other names already in the scam that have already emerged. Bhola Yadav, and allegations and counter allegations flying thick and fast. Republic on the story. And coming up, all the details after this very short break. We're tracking this mega breaking news with Prakash Singh, our senior editor. Special projects in Patna. Stay with us.
There you can see a large number of Congress workers are being detained. They are outside the Congress headquarters. There is a large number of protest workers who are being denied over here. They are saying that they will fight till the very end.
Ever since the formation of the Mahagathbandhan government in Bihar, we have been witnessing the rise in the crime graph. It seems that the administration is blindfolded to all these incidences. A firing has taken place in which one person was shot dead and one injured as well, and we got CCTV footage of incident. And day in and day out, incidences like this are occurring in different parts of Bihar.
This is going to be more trouble for Aam Aadmi Party, as we are seeing that Manish Sisodiya is already under the radar of CBI. Deputy Chief Minister is summoned, and this is in the defamation case which was filed by Hemanta Biswa Sarma. The allegation which was raised in by Deputy Chief Minister of Delhi, that's Manish Sisodiya, and now the court has given the order, and now Manish Sisodiya has to be there on 29th of September in this particular defamation case.
मनीष जी को कहा गया कि आप भारतीय जनता पार्टी में आ जाइए, आपको मुख्यमंत्री का उम्मीदवार बनाएंगे, आम आदमी पार्टी की सरकार गिरानी है। भारतीय जनता पार्टी का ऑपरेशन लोटस दिल्ली के अंदर दूसरी बार हमने फेल किया।
जब एक्साइज डिपार्टमेंट ने आपको इस प्रकार का नोटिस दिया तो आपने संबंधित कार्रवाई क्यों नहीं की?
These were the visuals of the quarter guard ceremony here at Mechuka unit, the 13th Grenadiers.
We keep our boys extremely fit and motivated with the
You're watching Live and Breaking on Republic, and we are tracking the mega story this morning. That's the Land for Jobs scam. Mega crackdown by central agencies, the Enforcement Directorate and the CBI in Patna at various locations of top RJD leaders. Among them, Sunil Singh, very close aide of Lalu Yadav. All the updates here on Republic after this very short break. Coming up next, stay tuned. We'll be right back.
These were the visuals of the quarter guard ceremony here at Mechuka unit, the 13th Grenadiers.
we keep our boys extremely fit and motivated with the different levels of training in our battalion.
Welfare and defense of country comes always first.
Indian Army never leaves behind any one of them. When the Operation Meghdut started, there were several of the soldiers which went missing in action because of the avalanche. 38 years later, during a patrol party at Shankar Top, they essentially came across the mortal remains of Lance Naik Chandrasekhar of 19 Kumaon.
If you look in India, we are well on our way to Raj 2.0, run out of Delhi instead of run out of London.
Tamil Nadu Finance Minister Thiagarajan has sparked a massive roar, compared the Modi government to the British Raj. He was speaking at the Oxford Union address.
There you can see a large number of Congress workers are being detained. They're outside the Congress headquarters. There's a large number of protest workers who are being denied over here. They are saying that they will fight till the very end.
Ever since the formation of the Mahagathbandhan government in Bihar, we have been witnessing the rise in the crime graph. It seems that the administration is blindfolded to all these incidences. A firing has taken place in which one person was shot dead and one injured as well, and we got CCTV footage of incident. And day in and day out, incidences like this are occurring in different parts of Bihar.
This is going to be more trouble for Aam Aadmi Party, as we are seeing that Manish Sisodiya is already under the radar of CBI. Deputy Chief Minister
Simultaneous raids are conducted at 5 locations of RJD leaders in Bihar in the Land for Jobs scam. Raids also underway in the mining scam in Jharkhand. Mega action by central agencies, searches on across the country. A BJP MLA is arrested over controversial remarks. Set free, mega protests erupt out across Hyderabad. Late night protests in Hyderabad, shocking Sartan se jura slogans are raised. And it's a big day in Bihar today. The Nitish Kumar Tejashwi Yadav government is to face a crucial floor test. Mamata Banerjee's top aide, Anubrata Mondal's custody ends today. The CBI is to push hard for extended custody as cattle scam explodes. Good morning and thank you very much for staying with us on Republic TV. This is Live and Breaking. I'm Nupur Talwar Sori. Now, this is a Mega Republic exclusive that we are getting for you. The NIA is raiding in connection with the Kutch drugs bust across 10 locations in Delhi, Gujarat and Tamil Nadu. Now, some big socialites are believed to be under the scanner. An upscale club in Delhi is also being raided. A nightclub known to be the socialite hangout in Delhi is also under the scanner. One of the clubs that is being raided, of course, is Playboy. That's Club Playboy, which is also being raided. This, do remember, is in connection with the Kutch drugs bust case. So essentially what we're learning right now is the National Investigation Agency is raiding about 10 locations. These are in Delhi, Gujarat and Tamil Nadu. Also, sources within the NIA tell Republic TV that certain socialites could be involved. We are also now learning that some of these raids are being conducted at a nightclub, which is known to be the socialite hangout in Delhi. Let me go across to Abhishek Kapoor, our senior executive editor, who has more details on this. Good morning, Abhishek. So we are given to understand that even as these raids are being conducted across Delhi, Gujarat and Tamil Nadu, there could perhaps be some big names who are now under the scanner?
Oh, well, absolutely. In fact, Nupur, remember in September of last year, a huge haul of heroin, about 3,000 kilograms was seized from Mundra port by DRI and the Gujarat ATF based on a tip-off. The origin was Afghanistan and it had come to the Mundra port via Bandar Abbas port in Iran, and subsequently there were some arrests made and the case was in fact transferred to the NIA. There were arrests made in Delhi, there were arrests made in Chennai, a couple was involved in a transit of those drugs, and it seems that these drugs were meant for socialite parties across India in Delhi, Mumbai and Bengaluru, and hence these raids being carried out. In fact, it seems that the NIA has zeroed down on the destination of the drugs and those people could be under scanner. So for example, I can tell you at one place in Delhi where raids are on is a nightclub called Playboy. It happens to be in Samrat Hotel in the diplomatic enclave of Chanakyapuri, in fact, and this has got the agencies worried. So it seems, and the scale of the drug seizure was mind-blowing. It was perhaps the biggest in the history of India. 3,000 kgs, which means 3 tons. It was valued at over 20,000 crore rupees. And that's why, in fact, the case investigation was handed over to NIA to look at terror angle also, given the fact that the origin was in Afghanistan and those drugs came via Port Bandar Abbas. And now these raids at 10 locations, including in Delhi, in Gujarat, in Tamil Nadu, possibly in Karnataka. And this time, the people who were involved in dispensing of this huge haul, had these drugs escaped the scanner of agencies, they would have gone across the country and been part of that party circuit and really affected the social fabric of the country. And in that sense, this investigation gains significance, Nupur, and imagine 3,000 kgs, 3 tons of drugs
had they not been discovered and seized, would have gone inside the country and to the end consumer. So these raids are essentially going at those people who facilitated the trade based on all the input that have been gathered and the investigation that has gone on for the last 6 months.
Now, as you're pointing out, Abhishek, these drugs that were recovered were about 3,000 kgs and worth about 21,000 crore rupees in the international market. Now, you are, of course, telling us that these raids are linked to that seizure that was made at the Mundra port. But can you give us more details in terms of the places that are being raided in Tamil Nadu, as well as, I think, another location that's being raided, as you were pointing out, that's Gujarat?
Yes, so those we'll get in a bit, Nupur. This is preliminary information coming just as the raids have begun early morning. And like in the case of Delhi, so in the case of Bengaluru, so in the case of Tamil Nadu, these are essentially places where there were end users or those people who were facilitating the end use of these drugs. What had happened was immediately after the seizure of these drugs from Mundra Port, DRI had, Gujarat ATS had gotten into the investigation, and the leads had taken them to a couple in Chennai who are under arrest and in judicial custody now. But subsequently, the case was transferred to NIA, and then it had led to raids in Delhi at that time and the arrest of 6 individuals from Delhi, including Afghan nationals. And that's when the terror angle unraveled, because remember, post whatever developments have happened in Afghanistan, drug trade has again become a source of income for government there, and that's why perhaps it's so easy, such an easy flow of drugs that's happening, and the agencies are worried. A massive clampdown on drug trade through the Iran-Gujarat port route has been going on. Subsequent to September seizure, this was a big one. At least half a dozen other seizures have happened, essentially done by Gujarat ATS, of course, in coordination with national agencies.
Right.
And the investigation, the manner in which this has progressed, clearly showing that apart from those from outside India, there are people within the country who have been involved in this trade, and the focus now being essentially on those who are sort of affecting the innards of our society with this dangerous trade.
Yes, absolutely. Abhishek, do stay with us. Let me also quickly go across to Varshini, who's reporting on this from Tamil Nadu. Varshini, give us more details in terms of where these raids are being conducted. This, of course, is preliminary information that seems to be coming in. The raids, of course, in connection with the 21,000 crore drug bust that took place at Mundra last year.
What is it? There's nothing in it.
All right, I'm going to go back to Abhishek right now as Varshini gathers more information on this breaking news that we are getting. Abhishek, we were earlier, of course, talking about the fact that there is also the narco-terror angle which was being looked upon by by agencies, and also the fact that most of these drugs actually originated in Afghanistan and took the Iran route to come to India.
Well, yes, absolutely. In fact, Nitish, as I was saying earlier, the drug haul of 3,000 kg was heroin, and it's a highly processed drug with commands a premium in the international market. That's why about 20,000 plus crore rupees, and that's when the central government also, in fact, realized that this is something which is very dangerous, which is more than a small seizure here and there, and that's why the case was transferred to the NIA. And it's been about 9 months after the initial arrests that were made both in Chennai and in Delhi. There was a bit of a hiatus, but then there were subsequent leads that came in from these Afghan nationals who were arrested, and the NIA, the sleuths, they took a bit of time to work on those. There were some traps laid, and that's when they reached these nightclubs and these places of party scene across these metros. So the raids are going on. Just in a bit, we might have more information. We have to wait just for a while, because remember, as I said, it was just a tip-off, and these raids have started earlier in the morning. They might take a couple of hours and gather some more information in terms of whatever documents they are seizing, whatever equipment they would pick up to see in which direction and how and what was the scale of this operation, who all were involved. how many socialites, possibly some VIPs is going to blow up as the day progresses.
All right, we are just getting more information as to what has happened. We are learning that one of the clubs that is under the scanner right now, of course, is Playboy. This is Club Playboy. It's a posh club that's located in Delhi and is known to be essentially a place where a large number of socialites gather. Now, Abhishek, we were also talking about the fact that, earlier on when these raids were actually conducted at Mundra, what was discovered was that these drugs were intended for several areas in Delhi, Ahmedabad, as well as several places in Andhra Pradesh. Searches were then carried out over there, and a Chennai-based couple were actually investigated. Can you give us more details about that aspect as well, please?
Well, Nupur, yes. So that couple was they posed as traders, and this was shown as some kind of chemical salt which was destined to some industries and camouflaged as an industrial product by this couple who own a trading firm in Chennai. But they were arrested. Subsequent to this, some leads were available, which were being worked on. But what is important is that Gujarat acted only as a transit.
Absolutely. As you're pointing out, Abhishek, so raids being carried out at various locations. We're going to try and get our viewers more information. For the moment, Abhishek Kapura, Senior Executive Editor, thank you for joining us. And we're going back to the other big story that we've been tracking since this morning. Raids are being carried out at the RJD Rajya Sabha MP Asfaq Karim's residence. And in fact, we're now learning that CBI is searching 24 locations in Patna. These are in connection with the land for jobs scam that the CBI has been investigating. Raids are also being conducted on Lalu Yadav's close aide, RJD leader Sunil Singh. Sunil Singh, of course, also happens to be the treasurer of the RJD. His residence was raided earlier this morning in Patna. Now, simultaneously, searches are underway in Jharkhand, Bihar and Tamil Nadu, as well as Delhi NCR in the Jharkhand mining scan. Just bringing you the details right now of what took place earlier this morning when RJD leaders, three of them, one of them, of course, the treasurer of the RJD, was raided.
कुछ नहीं मिलने वाला है और रहेंगे क्योंकि ये जबरदस्ती टारगेट किया जा रहा है ये टारगेट नहीं चले हमारी मैडम निकली थी जबरदस्त ये जो मन करे जबरदस्ती
बिल्कुल जिस तरह से इस पूरे मामले को लेकर अब सुनील सिंह के तमाम समर्थक यहां पर गेट पर बैठ गए हैं और उनका ये कहना है कि ये जो कार्रवाई हो रही है ये द्वेषपूर्ण कार्रवाई हो रही है और यहां पर इस तरह की कार्रवाई बर्दाश्त नहीं की जाएगी, लोगों का कहना है। अच्छा,
लोग 2000 ये घबरा गया है तेजस्वी जी और नीतीश जब से जोड़ी इनका हुआ है ना बौखलाहट हो गया केंद्र सरकार को। क्या हो रहा है भाई?
तो पुराना है,
मामला पुराना है। जब दोनों आदमी मिले हैं तब से घबराहट हो गई है। पहले कहाँ थे? टारगेट लिया जा रहा है। आज हम लोग का क्या सुन लो क्या बिगाड़े कि आज ही के दिन पर हमारा विधानसभा चल रहा है, तेजस्वी जी हमारे विधानसभा में है, अभी वहाँ बहुमत सिद्ध कर रहे हैं।
The RJD over there, of course, continues to maintain that these raids are politically motivated, coming as they do on the day of the floor test. I'm going to go across to Shavan Sen, who's reporting on this. Shavan, the fact of the matter also, however, is that the land for jobs scam has been investigated by the CBI, and they have in the past also said that there are clear connections that can be drawn to various leaders in the RJD.
Well, Nupur, it can't get more crystal clear than what it is at this point in time. Simply because if you take a look at the FIR and thereafter the investigation that has been carried out, in which there are certain land parcels in Bihar which are directly in the name of Lalu Prasad Yadav's family members, including the former Chief Minister of Bihar, Rabdi Devi. In fact, some of these land parcels were essentially gifted by those undeserving candidates. In fact, Bhola Yadav, a close aide of Lalu Prasad Yadav, was actually the intermediary, the conduit in this entire land for job scam. What we are given to understand is that currently, as we speak, 3-4 locations where these searches are being carried out, at least 3 RJD leaders are under the scan at this point in time. The allegation essentially being that for the Group B candidates in the railway recruitment, there were candidates who were giving their applications at the residence of official residence of Rabri Devi as well as Lalu Prasad Yadav, and it was being collected by Bhola Yadav himself. In return, there were land parcels that were gifted by the undeserving candidates to Rabri Devi as well as Lalu Prasad Yadav. And this land where the searches were actually carried out in the past. This is the third raid that is being carried out in this case by the Central Bureau of Investigation. In the previous raids, Nupur, in fact, they were looking at those very land deeds, the land parcels that were gifted by the undeserving candidates to the former Union Minister. Now, important to point out here is that there is direct intervention, or rather there is a direct role of Lalu Prasad Yadav as far as the land for jobs scam is concerned, given the fact that there are land deeds that have also been accessed by Republic TV in which one can clearly see that these land parcels are in the name of Lalu Prasad Yadav, Devi, and also other family members. And that is the reason why, when you're looking at these searches that are being carried out right now, one perhaps cannot really claim vindictive politics, given the fact that there is a clear-cut case of corruption which is being probed by a central agency. And this has got nothing to do with the fact that, there have been recent political changes in Bihar, given the fact that this FIR was registered much before the Mahagathbandhan government was formed in Bihar. And the fact of the matter is that there has also been an arrest in this particular case, that is of Bhola Yadav, a close aide of Lalu Prasad Yadav, who has basically taken the name of the former Union Minister himself. So keeping all of that in mind, it is a natural progression if you really look at it purely from the point of view. Having said that, obviously, it is bound to evoke some sort of a political response, given that the opposition parties have been training their guns at the central agencies, saying that the central agencies are essentially working at the behest of the Senate.
I think that's some trouble that we are running into with that connection with Shavan Sen. We're going to try and get him back in just a bit. But as Shavan was explaining to us, these raids, of course, are being conducted in the land for jobs scam. The CBI is conducting these raids at 3 leaders' residences in Patna. We are now learning that about 24 locations are being raided now. What we are given to understand is that this is in land transfers took place in lieu of jobs. That this is, of course, Group D jobs in the railways. Now, land deeds have been found, and there are multiple witnesses which have spoken about the transfer of land. I'm going to try once again to go back to Shavan Sen to get more details on this. Shavan, you were taking us through the modus operandi of what the CBI believes in terms of how this scam really took place. Okay, I don't think we've got Shavan. We're going to try and fix that connection and go back to him. But pictures on your screen are of the raids that are being carried out at 4 leaders' homes. That's Sunil Singh, Ashfaq Karim, Fayaz Ahmed and Subodh Rai.
अभी जो है सुनील सिंह के समर्थकों ने गेट खोलने की कोशिश की और अब जो है यहाँ पर समर्थक बेकाबू हो रहे हैं। कोई पॉलिटिकल हैपनिंग तो है नहीं है, आप गेट खोल के अंदर क्यों घुसना चाह रहे हैं?
हम घुसना चाह रहे हैं कि इस जो है अंदर में क्या अंदर में हमारे सहकारिता सम्राट नेता हैं, उनके साथ वो हम लोग का गहना है सहकारिता।
ये बड़ी खबर पर लगातार नजर बनी हुई है। यहाँ पर सुनील सिंह के समर्थक जो है अभी बेकाबू होते हुए नजर आ रहे हैं। उनका कहना है कार्रवाई गलत हो रही है। इस बड़ी खबर पर लगातार नजर बनी हुई है। बने रहिए रिपब्लिक भारत के साथ, देखते रहिए रिपब्लिक भारत। छोटा सा ब्रेक, जल्द लौटते हैं।
All right. Is continuing to cry foul, saying that these raids that are being conducted in the land for jobs scam are being conducted because this is political vendetta. Do remember that they do come at a time when the new Bihar government is set to take its floor test. However, the CBI on its part says that these leaders have been under the scanner for quite some time now. The CBI in fact says that they have worked out the entire modus operandi of how this scam actually took place. Now, they have been saying that In this particular case, Group T jobs were given to people in the railways. These were people who did not deserve these jobs. And in lieu of these jobs that were given in the railways, land was transferred to Rabri Devi as well as others. Now, during the course of its investigation, the CBI says that they have found land deeds which seem to point to the same. Currently, of course, houses of 4 of these RJD leaders are being raided. Key among them, of course, is Sunil Singh. Do remember, he's also the treasurer of the RJD, considered to be extremely close to Lalu Prasad and his wife, Rabri Devi, as well as the Deputy Chief Minister of Bihar, Yadav. Apart from that, of course, there are other leaders from the RJD who are also being raided. The CBI, of course, has been investigating the land for jobs scam for some time now, and they have in their reports suggested that sale deeds were executed in the name of Lalu's family. The land was transferred to the family of Lalu Prasad Yadav in lieu of jobs. Now, there are large parcels of land which the CBI alleges were transferred to the family in lieu of
हमने जो मदद के खिलाफ इसका नाम डरने वाला नहीं है, ये थोड़ी देर है। अपने नेताओं को ये डराना धमकाना चाहते हैं, इनका पुराना नुस्खा है। बिहार की जनता होने वाली नहीं है। माननीय अध्यक्ष महोदय को पहले इस्तीफा दे देना चाहिए। क्या एनडीए की सरकार नहीं है यहाँ, ये लोकतंत्र के खिलाफ है। निराला जी, निराला जी।
Are also coming to you from outside the residence of Sunil Yadav. All right, these are pictures where we can see that protests are being carried out. Now, do remember, earlier on there was talk of a large number of RJD workers coming in. We are also now getting some input that seems to suggest that about another RJD leader is being raided. This is the 5th RJD leader who's being raided. Prakash Singh has more details on this. Prakash, can you give us more details as to who's the new leader who's being raided now?
Well, we get to know that.
Protesting outside the Bihar Vidhan Sabha ahead of the floor test, and that's what we see with placards in their hand. All the BJP MLAs are protesting outside the Bihar Vidhan Sabha ahead of the trust vote that is going to happen in some time from now, in an hour from now. So there we see BJP leader Tarkishore Prasad, former Deputy CM, arriving here outside the Vidhan Sabha, protesting against all sorts of placards we can see. One placard says that the minority minister Israel Mansouri entered into the Garbhgriha of Vishnupat temple along with Nitish Kumar. One placard says that अपराधियों की भरमार है, एक ऐसी सरकार है, saying that all the charge-sheeted people and the people in different cases are involved. And leaders moving out from there in the Bihar Vidhan Sabha ahead of the floor test. There we see संजीव चौरसिया को क्या हो रहा है, आप लोग क्या करते हैं?
आज जिस प्रकार से नीतीश कुमार ने पलटने का भी काम किया, सबसे बड़ी बात, दूसरा बात गया में विष्णुपुर मंदिर में जिस प्रकार से अपमानित करने का काम किया, तीसरी बात कि जनादेश के अपमान के साथ करने का काम किया, लॉ एंड ऑर्डर बिहार में जिस प्रकार से गड़बड़ाने का काम हुआ है, सब लोगों को लेकर
पलटू कुमार ने जनादेश को धोखा दिया है और बिहार में अराजकता की स्थिति आ गई है। बेरोजगार शिक्षकों के।
आज क्या करने वाले हैं आप लोग?
आज हम लोग अपने विधानसभा अध्यक्ष के साथ सदन चलाएंगे।
विधानसभा अध्यक्ष बैठेंगे, उनको बैठने नहीं देंगे तो क्या आप लोग मारपीट भी करेंगे?
नहीं, बैठने क्यों नहीं देंगे। और अध्यक्ष जो कस्टोडियन होता है हाउस का, तो निश्चित रूप से, और उन्होंने जो सूचना दी है विश्वास की, वो सूचना नियम सम्मत नहीं है, इसलिए अध्यक्ष जी बैठेंगे और सदन के अंदर जो कार्रवाई होगी उस पर आगे की कार्रवाई चलेगी।
नंबर्स तो है नहीं आपके पास?
नहीं, नंबर नहीं, सदन तो नियमावली से चलता है और इन्होंने जो सूचना दिया है उसका तो 14 दिन पूरा ही नहीं हुआ है और ये साइंडाई चल रहा है अभी सूचना।
All right, so this is a big lead that we are getting right now. We are now learning that there is a fifth raid that is being conducted. This is against Lalu Prasad Yadav's brother-in-law who's being raided. I'm going to try and go back across on the ground to our correspondents to get a confirmation on this one. But we have, of course, seen about 24 locations in Patna being raided since this morning. This is in the land for jobs scam. Now, the RJD leaders who are under the lens, of course, are believed to be all close to Lalu Prasad Yadav and his family. Key amongst them, of course, is Sunil Singh, who also happens to be the treasurer of the RJD. So, in those terms, this, of course, does become extremely politically important as well. Now, also on the other side, the RJD, of course, says that these are politically motivated. Let's listen in to what the RJD as well as the JDU have been saying.
So there we see the rules being followed. That's what we get to know, and we are joined by some CBI MLAs as well.
विधानसभा स्पीकर को लेकर पूरा मामला है।
ये बताइए
के लोग प्रदर्शन कर रहे हैं, स्पीकर हैं, बता दीजिए, पहले उन्हीं को बता दीजिए। देखिए, रिपब्लिक
हमारा मांग यही है कि अध्यक्ष जिनके ऊपर नो कॉन्फिडेंस मोशन पहले ही दिया जा चुका है, उनको सदन की परंपराओं का सम्मान करते हुए इस्तीफा देना चाहिए। इस तरीके से लोकतंत्र की अवहेलना का, संवैधानिक नियमों की धज्जियां उड़ाते हुए जबरदस्ती अपने पद पर बने रहेंगे। जब सदन के अंदर आपका कोई सहमति नहीं है, नंबर नहीं है आपके पास, तो आपको हटना चाहिए।
तो अगर जबरन बैठना चाहें तो क्या आप लोग बैठने देंगे?
उनको माने सदन के अंदर बेइज्जत होकर के हटना है तो उनकी चॉइस है, लेकिन परंपरा यही कहता है कि उनको अध्यक्ष पद से इस्तीफा देना चाहिए।
नंबर है 164,
एकदम नंबर नहीं उनके पास है।
वो बैठेंगे तो फिर आप लोग क्या
अभी सदन के अंदर हम लोग अविश्वास प्रस्ताव लाएंगे, उनको जबरदस्ती हटाया जाएगा, लेकिन ये अच्छा मैसेज नहीं है।
So there you have the CBI MLS saying that he will be forced to come out of the chair. That's what we get to know from the opposition MLAs and the ruling party MLAs. So that's what we get to know. High voltage drama here ahead of the floor test here in Bihar Vidhan Sabha, and there you see the BJP MLAs gathered in large numbers there protesting against the government, and they are with the speaker of the Bihar Vidhan Sabha. Speaker of the Bihar Vidhan Sabha, there is a no confidence motion against the speaker that has been moved, saying that you don't have the numbers, you should move out of this place, and else he'll be forced to make an exit. There you have
उसमें हम कोई टिप्पणी नहीं कर। लेकिन सवाल तो उठेंगे ना कि आज फ्लोर टेस्ट है, आज फ्लोर टेस्ट है और आज आप छापेमारी करवा रहे हैं। देखिए, आज हम सब बिहार विधानसभा के एक दिवसीय सत्र में आए हैं और यह हमारे लिए ज्यादा महत्वपूर्ण है। वो एजेंसी की अपनी प्रक्रिया है, उसमें हम कोई टिप्पणी नहीं करेंगे। पहुंच ही नहीं पाएगा अगर इस तरीके से सीबीआई घेर लेगी चारों तरफ, सीबीआई घेर लेगी तो फिर नहीं। देखिए, सरकार को क्या, वो जिस प्रकार से उन्होंने काम किया है, सजा तो उन्हें भुगतना पड़ेगा। आज का ही दिन क्यों चुना, ये भी पूछा गया। नहीं, आज का दिन यह क्यों चुना गया ये तो सीबीआई आपको बताएगी, लेकिन हम इतना जानते हैं कि बिहार विधानसभा या एक संवैधानिक संस्था है, मंदिर है, यहाँ का जो भी कार्य संचालन होगा वो नियमानुसार होगा और हमारे जो सम्माननीय अध्यक्ष हैं वर्तमान में, वो सभा के संचालन की प्रक्रिया प्रारंभ करेंगे, उसके बाद नियमानुसार आगे सदन चलेगा। गिरफ्तार भी होंगे क्या? तो वो पूछ रहे हैं कि बीजेपी वाले बताएंगे इसके बारे में। रेड चल रही है सर, सीबीआई की रेड चल रही है, राजद की तरफ से आरोप है, हम लोग को वहाँ जाने
क्या है आपके यू टर्न में?
कुर्सी कुमार जो बिहार में पहले फेमस होता था लिट्टी चोखा का, पूरे बिहार में लोग बिहार फेमस था। आज बिहार फेमस हो गया यू टर्न के लिए, और देश में बिहारी कहलाना अपमान का विषय होने लगा है। कहीं ना कहीं इस कुर्सी कुमार ने बिहारियों को अपमानित किया है।
बचौल जी, क्या होने वाला है आज? क्या आज मारपीट की नौबत भी आ सकती है, क्योंकि आपके स्पीकर को तो हटाया जा रहा है?
अब जो हो जैसा हो देखा जाएगा।
आप क्या कीजिएगा?
अब जो होगा सो देखा जाएगा। पलटू कुमार जो पलटासन किए हैं, बाबा रामदेव ने तो बहुत योगासन सिखाया।
कार्यसूची है उसके अनुसार सभा की कार्रवाई प्रारंभ होगी।
लेकिन अविश्वास प्रस्ताव भी उनके खिलाफ।
ठीक है, अविश्वास प्रस्ताव है तो फिर 38 या उससे अधिक जो सम्मानीय सदस्य हैं वो उठेंगे, तब वो संकल्प स्वीकृत होगा, तब उस पर आगे की कार्रवाई होगी। सिर्फ नोटिस दे देने से, सिर्फ संकल्प दे देने से वो अध्यक्ष के तौर पर नहीं रहता, ऐसा नहीं है।
लेकिन अध्यक्ष के ही आसन पर बैठने पर ही विश्वास मत होगा आपके अनुसार?
नहीं, देखिए वो अब कार्यसूची में प्रथम में अविश्वास प्रस्ताव का आया है, उस पर सदन विचार करेगी। उसके बाद फिर अन्य जो सूची में जो बद्ध अन्य जो कार्य हैं वो लिए जाएंगे।
फिर जो है जो संख्या है।
All right, so Prakash, of course, is taking us through what's taking place outside the Bihar Assembly. Do remember that there's a critical floor test that takes place. Prakash, if I could come back to you on this one. Prakash, there's a lot of drama, of course, that's happening there. But at the heart of it is also the fact that the Speaker, Vijay Sinha, of course, has refused to resign. What are we expecting to take place in the House today?
As far as the floor test is concerned, it will happen in some time from now. I am joined by Tarkishore Prasad, the former Deputy CM of Bihar. Tarkishore जी, आपके पास तो नंबर्स नहीं है 164। स्पीकर साहब ने इस्तीफा क्यों नहीं दिया? अब क्या
स्पीकर जो हमारे सम्माननीय विधानसभा के अध्यक्ष हैं, उनके प्रति सदन का विश्वास नहीं रहा, ऐसा एक उन्हें सूचना दी गई है, संकल्प दिया गया है। तो सर्वप्रथम तो सदन में जो 38 माननीय सदस्य हैं वो उस संकल्प के पक्ष में खड़े होंगे, अगर तब वो जो सूचना या संकल्प है स्वीकृत होगा और फिर सदन उस पर विचार करेगी। और उस समय सदन के जो पीठासीन जो पीठ है, जो चेयर है, उस पर वो नहीं बैठेंगे। लेकिन सदन में तो जाएंगे ही। तो सदस्य सिर्फ संकल्प विधानसभा में या सभा सचिवालय में भेज देने से कोई अध्यक्ष नहीं होंगे, या तो कहीं नियम की प्रक्रिया का कोई
नंबर्स तो है नहीं आपके पास।
ठीक है,
तो
देखिए कभी कभी जो अध्यक्ष चुने जाते हैं सर्वसम्मति से भी चुने जाते हैं, वो किसी दलीय आधार पर नहीं होते हैं। कभी कभी आपको पता ही होगा कि जो अध्यक्ष होते हैं वो दल से ऊपर उठकर होते हैं, तो उसमें उसको आप
तो कोई मारपीट की नौबत तो नहीं ना आएगी? आप जबरन तो उस पर बैठिएगा नहीं ना कुर्सी पे?
भारतीय जनता पार्टी के बारे में आपको पता है कि कौन दल मर्यादा का पालन करता है और कौन दल मर्यादा का पालन नहीं करता है। आपको
सीबीआई रेड्स हो रहे हैं तारकिशोर जी हर जगह।
देखिए वो तो सीबीआई एजेंसी स्वतंत्र एजेंसी, वो अपना काम कर रही है, उसमें हमें कोई टिप्पणी।
आपको क्या लगता है कि किस बिना पर ये रेड्स हो रहे हैं? भ्रष्टाचार में लिप्त हैं लोग, इसलिए
सबों ने देखा
आज फ्लोर नहीं आज
पहले से जो
आज फ्लोर टेस्ट है और अचानक सीबीआई रेड करती है, तो ये क्या मैसेज जाता है देश में?
सीबीआई का जो रेड है और जो विधानसभा का फ्लोर टेस्ट है, दोनों के कार्यसूची से कोई लेना देना नहीं है, वो अलग जांच एजेंसी है। वो संयोग है कि दोनों एक ही दिन हो रहा है। अब संयोग है कि क्या है नहीं जानते हैं, ये संयोगी हो सकता है। इस पर चलिए
so there we have Tarkishore Prasad, former Deputy CM of Bihar, stating the fact that the CBI raid is also CBI is also conducting. I'm joined by former Minister Rana Randhir Singh. राणा रणधीर जी, ये सीबीआई रेड हो रही है और आज फ्लोर टेस्ट है, तो क्या ये महज संयोग है या कि भ्रष्टाचार पर नकेल कसा जा रहा है?
देखिए, भ्रष्टाचार पर कार्रवाई तो लगातार सरकार कर ही रही है। अब ये आज के दिन एक इत्तेफाक हो सकता है, लेकिन घोटाले करेंगे, जो लोग जनता के पैसों को हजम करने का प्रयास करेंगे उन पर निश्चित रूप से छापेमारी होगी। और हम तो आज ये कह रहे हैं कि सारी दुनिया का हिंदू आज अपने को अपमानित महसूस कर रहा है, आज सारी दुनिया का हिंदू अपने को आहत महसूस कर रहा है। जिस दुनिया के सारे हिंदू जिस गया जी तीर्थ धाम पर आकर के अपने पुरखों को तर्पण करते हैं, अपने पुरखों का श्राद्ध करते हैं, वहां उस गया जी धाम में भगवान विष्णु के मंदिर में जहां अहिंदुओं का प्रवेश वर्जित है, वहां उन्होंने अहिंदुओं को प्रवेश करा करके ये बहुत बड़ा पाप किया है।
पाठ तो कोई भी कर सकता है, मजार भी जाते हैं हिंदू,
बिल्कुल नहीं,
छठ भी लोग करते हैं।
देखिए सब चीजें हैं, मक्का में किसी को जाने की इजाजत है क्या? कोई हिंदू जा सकता है क्या? वैसे ही हमारे धर्म में, हमारे तीर्थों में कुछ स्थान ऐसे हैं जहां हिंदुओं का प्रवेश वर्जित है और उसमें गया जी का तीर्थ धाम है। और इसलिए हम कह रहे हैं कि विनाश काले विपरीत बुद्धि, इनका विनाश होना है, इसलिए विपरीत हो रहा।
विधायक जी सवाल
छापेमारी, जो लोग षड्यंत्र करेंगे, जो लोग भ्रष्टाचार करेंगे, जो लोग जनता के पैसों का घोटाला करेंगे, उन पर छापेमारी होनी ही चाहिए।
अगर ऐसे आज के खास दिन के अगर मान लीजिए जो विपक्ष के यहाँ छापामारी पड़ जाए तब तो सवाल
देखिए
वो तो पहुंच ही नहीं पाएंगे।
बिल्कुल नहीं, वो तंत्र है, वो अपना काम करता है। हम यहाँ लोकतंत्र के मंदिर में आए हैं, हम अपना काम करते हैं। वो सरकार का तंत्र है, वो भ्रष्टाचारियों पर नकेल कसने वाला तंत्र है, वो अपना काम करता है।
तो कर रही है कि वो सरकार का तंत्र नहीं है, आप लोग का तंत्र है।
देखिए वो तो कुछ भी कहेंगे, वो तो कुछ भी कहेंगे। जब पलटू चाचा ने सारी नैतिकता की हदें तोड़ दी हैं तो कुछ भी कर सकते हैं।
All right, so that's the drama that's taking place outside the Bihar Assembly. Do remember that the floor test begins at about 11 o'clock. But before that, we are expecting an address from the Speaker, who of course has been, it has been said that he does not enjoy the confidence anymore. Pictures on your screen are also from protests that are taking place outside Lalu Prasad Yadav's residence. On the left-hand side, of course, is Sunil Singh, who's been raided.
छपरा जिला चक्का जाम रहेगा। अब भाजपा को नामो निशान बिहार से निकाल दिया जाएगा। सुनील सिंह औसक था, अभी पता नहीं है अमित शाह को। सुनील
8400 कुछ पंचायत है ना अपने बिहार में, तो पूरा पंचायत के पैक्स जो है कोऑपरेटिव से जुड़े,
तो ये सब पूरे मामले को लेकर कार्रवाई लगातार हो रही है। अगर तो अब
किसान पर होगा, किसान पर होगा, छापामारी कहाँ होती है? किसान बड़े उद्योगपति पर होता है।
अरे ये किसने कह दिया उद्योगपति पे होता है? खाली
किसान नेता है,
किसान
नेता है, किसान नेता।
अच्छा एक चीज बताओ, दूध का दूध, पानी का पानी होना चाहिए नहीं?
हाँ होना चाहिए, होगा। कैसे होगा? कैसे होगा? ये छापेमारी से होगा। पानी का पानी कैसे होगा? जब चोर रहेगा, जब बीजेपी छापामारी कराएगी, छापामारी चल रहा है, बीजेपी जब छापामारी कराएगी,
सांसद और विधायक के यहाँ छापामारी चल रहा है, नहीं चल रहा है क्यों? जैसे कि विपक्षियों के यहाँ चल रहा है,
बिजनेसमैन के पास छापा मारा जा रहा है। नहीं, पैसा किसके पास है इंडिया में? बिजनेसमैन के पास कि किसान के पास?
पैसा होना छापेमारी का
नहीं, आप बोल रहे हैं कि छापा
करना उसूल होता है,
गलत है।
क्या होता है? नहीं, हमसे पता, हम आज से नहीं है राजनीतिक से जुड़े हुए, हम लोग गांव ग्रामीण के हैं, समझे? सब लालू
यहाँ पर लोगों को क्या आप क्या अंदर जाना चाहते हैं?
मैडम जी को अंदर
आपको अंदर जाना है? आपके यहाँ रहती है? यहाँ रहती है? अच्छा, आप उनकी भाभी है? मतलब सुनील सिंह
भाभी है,
गाँव ग्रामीण है।
आपको कब पता चला कि छापेमार कार्रवाई हो रही है?
हमको सुबह पता चला है, सुबह पता चला।
अभी कहाँ है सुनील सिंह से आपकी बात हुई है?
हाँ हुई है।
क्या उन्होंने
क्या कहा? उन्होंने कहा कि हम क्या किए हैं, तो वो कुछ नहीं किए है, वो तो गरीब का नेता है। जितने छपरा जिला में चूल्हा जल रहा है, सुनील सिंह के कारण जल रहा है। वो किसान का नेता है, सबको भलाई करते हैं, हर गरीब उनसे खुश है। बहुत अंदर कहाँ नहीं जाने दे रहे हैं,
महिला को तो कहाँ जा रहे हैं, जबरदस्ती जा रहा है।
तो यहाँ पर लगातार जो है कार्रवाई तो हो रही है, लेकिन जो सुनील सिंह के समर्थक हैं वो काफी नाराज दिख रहे हैं, आक्रोशित दिख रहे हैं। उनका कहना है कि
66 में यूरिया बेचवाना को संभव।
ये जो कार्रवाई हो रही है, ये कार्रवाई जो है ये केंद्र सरकार के इशारे पर हो रही है, ये सुनील सिंह के समर्थकों का कहना है और इसी बात को लेकर वो नाराज हैं। हमने पूछा कि जब कुछ गलत किया नहीं, डर किस बात का। बोले डर नहीं है, लेकिन ये चुन चुन कर कार्रवाई हो रही है, ये गलत है। ये बड़े बड़े आरोप सुनील सिंह के समर्थकों के द्वारा लगाए जा रहे हैं। उनका कहना है कि यहाँ पर जो सुनील सिंह हैं वो किसानों के लिए काम करते हैं, उन्होंने किसानों के लिए काम किया है, लेकिन अभी उन पर जो कार्रवाई हो रही है ये कार्रवाई द्वेषपूर्ण है, वेंडेटा है, और इस पर लेकर विरोध करते हुए नजर आ रहे हैं। अभी आपको जो तस्वीर हम दिखा रहे थे, सुनील सिंह की भाभी यहाँ पर पहुंची हुई हैं। उनका कहना है कि वो उनकी भाभी हैं, और फिलहाल अंदर जो है सीबीआई की टीम मौजूद है, अंदर सुनील सिंह भी मौजूद है, अंदर उनका परिवार भी मौजूद है, उनके बेटे तेजस्वी भी मौजूद हैं। वो थोड़ी देर पहले बाहर निकलकर सामने आए थे, उन्होंने कहा था कि कार्रवाई हो रही है लेकिन कुछ मिल नहीं रहा है, कागजात खंगाले जा रहे हैं। लेकिन सबसे बड़ा सवाल है कि आज के इस पूरे रेड में करीब 24 जगहों पर सीबीआई ने रेड की है, और उन 24 जगहों में कई जगह कई लोग ऐसे हैं उनमें 24 में से जिनमें कुछ एमएलसी हैं, कुछ सांसद हैं, और सुनील सिंह भी उनमें से एक है जो एमएलसी है। और ये जो उनका फर्स्ट फ्लोर वाला ये जो फ्लैट है, यही उनका घर है, इसी घर में सुनील सिंह रहते हैं, इसी घर में उनका पूरा परिवार है। और अंदर सीबीआई के तकरीबन 8 से 10 अधिकारी मौजूद हैं, और तकरीबन लगभग 2.5 घंटे से ज़्यादा समय से वो यहाँ पर कार्रवाई कर रहे हैं। सवाल ये है कि एक तरफ नारेबाजी हो रही है गेट पर, आप देखिए कि इस अपार्टमेंट के गेट पर सुनील सिंह के तमाम समर्थक अब नारेबाजी कर रहे हैं। जरा इस तस्वीर को दिखाइए मुकेश।
लालू यादव जिंदाबाद, 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 जिंदाबाद। नहीं चलेगी, नहीं चलेगी,
नहीं चलेगी, नहीं चलेगी,
तानाशाही नहीं चलेगी,
नहीं चलेगी, नहीं चलेगी,
नहीं चलेगी।
यहाँ पर आप देखिए कि किस तरह से नारेबाजी हो रही है, और अब इस पूरे मामले को लेकर सियासत भी हो रही है। सियासत इस तरह की आरोप ये कि ये जो हो रहा है, ये तस्वीर देखिए। यहाँ पर अब जो समर्थक हैं वो देखिए, यहाँ पर समर्थक जो है वो बातें कह रहे हैं कि जिस तरह से बात कही। हम कुछ और समर्थकों से बात करें। मुकेश जरा इधर आइए, मुकेश जरा इधर आइए, और यहाँ पर हम जो कोशिश करेंगे। भैया आप तो स्टूडेंट हैं या नौकरी करते हैं? नहीं।
All right, so pictures on your screen are coming to you from two places. One, of course, is outside Sunil Singh's residence, which is continuing to be raided. The other part of it is the BJP protesting outside the assembly right now. I'm going to try and connect with Prakash Singh, who's been breaking down the story for us. Prakash, give us a sense of what's happening outside the Bihar assembly as well. The floor test is supposed to take place in about 15 minutes from now, but the BJP is protesting outside currently.
Well, the BJP MLAs have gone inside the Bihar Vidhan Sabha. Now the proceedings are all set to start at 11 a.m. this morning, and all the MLAs are set to assemble inside the Bihar Vidhan Sabha premises, and after that the floor test would take place, and it is expected that the no confidence motion against the Speaker Vijay Sinha would be put into motion, and thereafter no confidence proceedings would start. Before that, a ruckus is expected between the BJP and the RJD MLAs as well as the JDU MLAs, because Vijay Sinha, the Speaker of the Bihar Vidhan Sabha, who is from the BJP, is not willing to resign. They say that the government did not follow the rules and regulations and the protocol of the proceedings of the Bihar Vidhan Sabha, and that is why he has all right to sit on the chair of the Bihar Vidhan Sabha. Now, it's a political message that will be sent out by the BJP by not resigning from the Speaker of the Vidhan Sabha post by Vijay Sinha, and thereafter we get to know that the no confidence motion would be moved, and the proceedings would start, the speeches would be done, and it's all available on the live webcast of the Bihar Vidhan Sabha website as well as the Facebook page. So in some time from now, the proceedings of the Bihar Vidhan Sabha would start.
Now, even as this happens, of course, Prakash, we've been seeing these raids that are being conducted by the CBI in the land for jobs scam. Now, the CBI, of course, says that when Lalu Yadav was the Minister for Railways, he took land in lieu of jobs. We're going to come back to you, Prakash, on that one in just a bit. We slip into a very short break here. On the other side, we will continue to bring you the latest of what's happening in Bihar currently.
AAP tries to, the liquor scam isn't going away. It's not going to go away. Yesterday, the AAP spokesperson tried to deflect. So tonight I am back. And I'm back on public demand, on your demand, with some really specific questions to the AAP on the liquor scam, on Liquor Gate. And I will try my very best to extract an answer. And I think the AAP should answer my specific questions, because Kejriwal entered public life on the back of the anger against corruption in the country in 2010-11. And at that time, I was leading the exposés on corruption in the UPA. And in fact, at that time, Kejriwal lauded and kept quoting details of my exposés, my specific questions. So tonight, his representatives must answer the specific questions I ask, not dodge and not deflect. Corruption is a big issue. It burns the hearts of the people of this country to see the financial mafia, the political mafia, and the liquor mafia loot at the expense of the Aam Aadmi. You can give people all the freebies you want, but the questions on the liquor mafia are not going away. And viewers, if India's only and only independent and independently owned news network does not ask these questions, then who will? That's why this edition of the Liquorgate debate with my specific questions is very significant. And I hope that you will participate by telling me whether you're convinced or not, using any interactive tool that is next to you. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're back and let's debate.
This is going to be more trouble for Aam Aadmi Party, as we are seeing that Manish Sisodiya is already under the radar of CBI. Deputy Chief Minister is summoned, and this is in the defamation case which was filed.
कुशवाहा जी, जेडीयू के नेताओं पर भी अब छापेमारी होगी क्या? टूटा था राजद से, तो मुख्यमंत्री का कहना था करप्शन चार्जेस पे बातें नहीं बताई थी, अब क्या कहेंगे इस पे?
फिर से बोलिए, अब दो बाद में एक सवाल पूछिए, आप फिर से पूछिए।
हाँ, मेरा सवाल है कि पिछली बार जब गठबंधन टूटा था राजद से, तब मुख्यमंत्री ने कहा था कि करप्शन के बारे में सवाल पूछे गए, जिसका संतोषजनक जवाब नहीं मिलने के बाद ये सब कुछ हुआ। अब क्या कहना चाहेंगे?
नहीं, इस पर तो बात हो चुकी है। बाकी हमने तो कहा कि कहीं कोई गड़बड़ी है तो केंद्र की एजेंसी का काम है वो जांच करे ना, उस पर मेरी कहाँ कोई आपत्ति है। कानून अपने हिसाब से काम करे, कोई आपत्ति नहीं है, लेकिन कानून को बाध्य किया जाए कि हम जब कहें तो कार्रवाई हो, हम नहीं कहें तो कार्रवाई नहीं हो, यह तो पूरे तौर पे गलत है ना।
जेडीयू के नेताओं पर भी छापेमारी होगी क्या?
अरे भैया, छापेमारी जनता दल यूनाइटेड के नेता के ऊपर क्या छापेमारी होगी? लेकिन जब जानबूझकर और किसी को परेशान करने के लिए छापेमारी की बात है, कोई पॉलिटिकल पार्टी छापेमारी वाली एजेंसी को अपने हिसाब से यूज कर रही है, तब कहाँ क्या होगा, क्या कहा जा सकता है?
जी, भाजपा लगातार नीतीश कुमार को पलटू राम के नारे लगा रही है।
चला जाए।
All right, so that of course is the word that's coming in from the RJD, which continues to maintain that this is vendetta politics that is being practiced by central agencies. This of course is a common refrain that we've been hearing from the RJD since the morning. Now raids are being conducted at about 5 leaders of the RJD. Their residences are being raided even as we speak. Now one of them of course is Sunil Singh. He's also the treasurer of the RJD. Now even as all of this takes place in Bihar, simultaneously the assembly session has just begun. Now this is of course a crucial day when the new government of course faces a floor test. All right, the Chief Minister of Bihar, Nitish Kumar, right now on your screens entering the Vidhan Sabha. Do remember that he faces a crucial floor test. The numbers, of course, are clearly in his favor. Prakash is with us. He's taking us through what's happening.
आज पहली बार नहीं हो रहा है छापेमारी। हमारा बिहार की जनता सब हमारा पलवार है। बिहार की जनता पलवार है। पलवार देख रहा है बिहार की जनता।
सरकार बने वो बोल रहे हैं कि चोरी अध्यक्ष इस्तीफा नहीं दे रहे, अध्यक्ष इस्तीफा नहीं दे रहे, उनको चोरी किया है उसको लौटाना पड़ेगा, जो लोग चोर है उनको लौटाना पड़ेगा। बीजेपी बोल रही है
देश के तो वो लोग लूटा है, देश के वो लोग लूट लिया है।
चलिए बढ़िए
जी है, लेकिन अभी हम लोगों ने उनको कहा है कि जो संवैधानिक परंपरा है और जो संसदीय मर्यादा है उसके तहत आपको कार्रवाई करनी चाहिए और उन्होंने भी आश्वासन दिया है।
स्पीकर साहब ने क्या कहा?
नहीं, स्पीकर साहब ने कहा है कि जो भी नियमानुकूल होगा, संसदीय प्रणाली के अनुरूप होगा, हम वही करेंगे।
तो वो तो बोल रहे हैं कि बैठेंगे चेयर पे।
नहीं, चेयर पे तो बैठ ही सकते हैं। चेयर पर बैठने से मना किसने किया? अभी वो अध्यक्ष हैं तो कौन बैठेगा चेयर पर?
आगे की कार्रवाई क्या होगी?
आगे की कार्रवाई तो वो सदन चेयर पर जाके करेंगे, वो करेंगे। उन्होंने आश्वासन दिया है कि हम नियमानुकूल करेंगे। हम लोग नियमानुकूल करेंगे तो सहयोग देंगे, नियम से अगर अलग जाएंगे तो प्रोटेस्ट।
पहला नंबर है सूची में।
नहीं, हंगामा कौन कहता है भाई? आप लोग ऐसा
मारपीट की नौबत आ रही है।
आप लोग ऐसा आप लोग ऐसा डेरोगेटरी वर्ड क्यों यूज करते हैं?
सीबीआई का रेड हो रहा है सर जगह जगह पे।
देखिए, सीबीआई का रेड ये तो बिल्कुल बदले की कार्रवाई या राजनीतिक रूप से प्रताड़ित करने की कार्रवाई प्रतीत होती है। ऐसा कहीं होता है चुन के अपने विरोधी दल के ही लोगों के यहाँ सीबीआई और ईडी की रेड हो, ये तो मतलब नेचुरल नहीं लगता।
लैंड फॉर जॉब स्कैम का मामला है, जब 2017 में आप लोग महागठबंधन से अलग हुए थे।
वो सब तो सीबीआई हो या ईडी हो जांच कर रही है, तो जो जांच के नतीजे आएंगे
उसको कैसे देख रहे हैं आप?
इसीलिए तो हमने कहा कि ये टाइमिंग सही दिशा में विचार को नहीं ले जाता है। ये स्पष्ट दिखता है कि ये राजनीतिक बदले की भावना से किया गया।
नौकरी की बात है या कौन सा मामला है जिसमें छापेमारी हो रही है?
पता नहीं अब कहाँ आज हो रही है, हमको सब जानकारी थोड़े है कि इतने लोगों पे हो रही है। अब किस पे क्या मामला है मुझे क्या मालूम।
अच्छा, आपको लगता है कि अविश्वास प्रस्ताव के बाद अध्यक्ष को पद पर रहना चाहिए?
नहीं, कौन? हम तो अपने विचार कई दिन से बता रहे हैं और हम समझते हैं, हम आशान्वित हैं और हम उम्मीद करते हैं कि अध्यक्ष नियमानुसार ही व्यवहार करेंगे और हम लोगों को आपत्ति दर्ज कराने का मौका नहीं देंगे।
मीटिंग नहीं, स्पीकर साहब के साथ मीटिंग में कौन कौन थे और क्या कहा आप लोग?
कोई मीटिंग नहीं हुई है, कोई मीटिंग नहीं हुई है। ये सीधे उनसे हम आशा करते हैं।
So there we have Vijay Chaudhary, the former Speaker of the Bihar Vidhan Sabha, clearly stating that the Speaker should resign, and Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar, Tejasvi Yadav, former Vidhan Sabha Speaker, was on air a moment back. Vijay Chaudhary was speaking to us. He said that they have requested the Speaker to resign because they don't have the numbers. Mahagठबंधन has the numbers of 164 MLAs and the BJP has only 77 MLAs in the House of 243. So it's high voltage drama here in the Bihar Vidhan Sabha ahead of the floor test. For more news and updates, keep watching Republic TV.
Look, in India, we are well on our way to Raj 2.0, run out of Delhi instead of run out of London.
Tamil Nadu Finance Minister Thiagarajan has sparked a massive roar, compared the Modi government to the British Raj. He was speaking at the Oxford Union address. More international news. Colombia's new police director has said that the country has suspended forced eradication of cocoa fields and will focus on intercepting cocaine shipments while providing farmers with incentives to adopt legal crops. He also said that operations aimed at forcefully eradicating coca leaf plantations in remote areas were suspended after he was named to the post last week.
The U.S. government's significant $2 million investment in the Colombo Plan Drug Advisory Program is an excellent example of the deep and multifaceted bilateral cooperation between the United States and Colombia, and that one we look forward to continuing so that we can save lives in both our countries.
Ever since the formation of the Mahagathbandhan government in Bihar, we have been witnessing the rise in the crime graph. It seems that the administration is blindfolded to all these incidences. A firing has taken place in which one person was shot dead and one injured as well, and we got CCTV footage of incident. And day in and day out, incidences like this are occurring in different parts of Bihar.
Going to be more trouble for Aam Aadmi Party, as we are seeing that Manish Sisodiya is already under the radar of CBI. Deputy Chief Minister is summoned, and this is in the defamation case which was filed by Hemanta Biswa Sarma. The allegation which was raised in by Deputy Chief Minister of Delhi, that's Manish Sisodiya, and now the court has given the order, and now Manish Sisodiya.
Welcome back. You're watching Republic TV. This is live and breaking, and we are bringing you all the action that's taking place in Bihar. Even as the new government takes the vote of confidence, there has been massive action since the morning, with the CBI raiding at least 5 leaders of the RJD. Now, this is in connection with the Land for Jobs scam, which the CBI says took place when Lalu Yadav was the railway minister. The CBI, of course, has been investigating this scam, where they allege that RJD leader Lalu Yadav's family was given land in lieu of D category jobs in the railways. Prakash Singh is continuing to bring us the latest. He's reporting from outside the Vidhan Sabha currently. Prakash, the timing of these raids, of course, is being questioned by the RJD.
There you see the Bihar Vidhan Sabha BJP MLAs are all queued up. They are here to welcome of the BJP, and as also we get to know that the Bihar Vidhan Sabha speaker would be coming out. All the BJP are here queued up to welcome the BJP, the Bihar Vidhan Sabha speaker. Bihar Vidhan Sabha and the ruckus here outside of the Bihar Vidhan Sabha speaker, and now ahead of the floor test. It's a political drama. Political drama unfolding here in Patna. There you can see the visual on your.
The leaders of Germany and Canada have said that a new hydrogen pact will kickstart a transatlantic hydrogen supply chain, with the first deliveries expected in just 3 years. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and German Chancellor Olaf Scholz signed the deal in the port town of Stevensville. A Canadian company has plans to build a zero-emission plant that will use wind energy to produce hydrogen and ammonia for export.
Canada-Germany Hydrogen Alliance is a historic step forward for our shared future. Our target is clear: working towards initial exports of Canadian hydrogen to Germany by 2025. And our outcomes are clear as well.
Moving quickly to assign blame, Russia declared Ukrainian intelligence responsible for the brazen car bombing that killed the daughter of leading right-wing Russian political thinker over the weekend. Ukraine denied involvement. This comes in the backdrop of Daria Dugina, the 29-year-old commentator with a nationalist Russian TV channel, who died when a remotely controlled explosive device planted in her SUV blew up as she was driving on the outskirts of Moscow, ripping the vehicle apart and killing her on the spot. The husband of US House Speaker Nancy Pelosi pleaded guilty to misdemeanor driving under the influence charges related to a May crash in California's wine country. He was sentenced to 5 days in jail and 3 years of probation. Paul Pelosi already has served 2 days in jail and received conduct credit for 2 other days. Paul Pelosi will work 8 hours in the court's work program in lieu of the remaining day, which he did not attend. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has urged the international community to issue an ultimatum to Russia to remove its troops from Europe's largest nuclear power plant in Zaporizhia. Zelensky said that the ongoing Russian military presence there was a danger to the entire world and soldiers were not well versed in nuclear energy issues.
If you look in India, we are well on our way to Raj 2.0.
You're watching Live and Breaking on Republic. I'm Rukma, and in our top story, even as we speak, we are covering the mega action since this morning as private secretaries of RJD leaders are under the scanner, along with top netas of the party. A few politicians from the party had a role to play in the land for jobs scam between 2004 and 2009. Searches are on in Madhubani and Katihar. Politicians and private individuals who helped in getting sale and gift deeds from family members of candidates seeking substitute Group C and D jobs are under the scanner. So government officials as well as RJD netas under the CBI lens, and it's a major crackdown on a day that's politically very important for the Mahagathbandhan government in the state, the newly formed Mahagathbandhan government in Bihar. Many of the RJD leaders who are part of the coalition under the scanner in the mega land for jobs corruption scam. It's a major crackdown by the CBI on RJD leaders as well as secretaries, and it's over to Shravan now. Shravan Sen, our senior executive editor, to take us through this all the major developments so far, the significance of this crackdown. Shravan, it's over to you.
In fact, Rupert, the latest details we are getting in right now is with regards to the searches that are being carried out at 24 locations in Bihar itself. We're being told the latest coming in from Madhubani as well as in Katihar is the latest that we are being told. But the bigger information that we have at our disposal right now is the fact that private secretaries of RJD leaders are also under the scanner. I'll try and flesh this out for our viewers to try and put this into perspective, why exactly private secretaries of these leaders are now becoming important for this entire investigation. That's primarily because of two reasons. One, the time that Union Minister Lalu Yadav was at the helm of affairs at the Railway Ministry, remember there was the recruitment that was basically being carried out, the recruitment for Group B and Group C candidates. In fact, we are now being told that with regards to these candidates, they were basically giving their application forms or submitting their application forms to Lalu Prasad's OSD, Bhola Yadav, who was collecting all of these applications at Lalu Prasad Yadav's official residence in Patna. In fact, in return of that, there was land that was gifted by these undeserving candidates, and these private secretaries of several of these RJD leaders were also playing an important role. In fact, the latest that we are picking up is that at least 3 RJD leaders, when we are not naming them at this point in time because the investigation is underway right now, Rukma, but at least 3 RJD leaders are now under the scanner. Their private secretaries are under the scanner. A medical college is now under the scanner. These are fast developments that are taking place as the Central Bureau of Investigation carries out the searches. Now, important to point out here is that Bhola Yadav, in fact, is in the custody of the Central Bureau of Investigation, and he has basically made an admission. He's made an admission right now in the custody of the Central Bureau of Investigation that he was basically collecting all these materials, or in fact from
Right. So the names that we are getting as of now, even as Shravan Sen is joining us and giving us a detailed account a recap of the events so far. So back-to-back developments since this morning. Many names cropping up, top names in the state, in the government, as well as in political circles, the close aides of Lalu under the scanner of the CBI. It's a mega crackdown on corruption in the state, in the land for jobs scam, even as it's politically a very important day for the Mahagathbandhan government.
लेकिन मुझे अफसोस है कि ऐसा करने का मुझे अवसर ही नहीं दिया गया। सरकार का 9 अगस्त को इस्तीफा देना और 10 अगस्त को नई सरकार का प्रस्ताव देना, लोकतंत्र में बहुमत के हिसाब से ये परंपरा, नैतिकता पर हम चर्चा नहीं करेंगे। लोकतंत्र की खूबसूरती कहें या लोकतंत्र की बदसूरती कहें, ये जनता के ऊपर छोड़ते हैं।
And it's, as we were saying, as we've been continuously saying, it's a very significant, very important day as far as the Bihar Vidhan Sabha is concerned. And we are tracking those developments there in the Bihar Assembly as well, of the floor test of the newly formed Mahagathbandhan government. Let's listen in to know more.
बीच प्रेस मीडिया और अखबारों से मालूम हुआ कि 9 अगस्त को लोगों ने मेरे खिलाफ सचिव को अविश्वास प्रस्ताव की सूचना भेजी है। उस दिन सार्वजनिक अवकाश था। पुनः 10 अगस्त को सरकार गठन के पूर्व ही लोगों ने अविश्वास प्रस्ताव सचिवीय कार्यालय में जाकर दिया। इस परिस्थिति में उनके अविश्वास के आरोप का सही जवाब देना हमारी नैतिक जिम्मेदारी बन गई, क्योंकि यदि हम इस्तीफा दे देते तो उनके आरोप का जवाब उन्हें नहीं मिल पाता। माननीय सदस्यगण, आप सभी बिहार में लोकतंत्र के इस सबसे बड़े मंदिर के पुजारी हैं। मैं आप सभी को यह बताना चाहूंगा कि आपने जो अविश्वास प्रस्ताव लाया है वह अस्पष्ट है। 9 माननीय सदस्यों का पत्र मिला, जिसमें से 8 लोगों का प्रस्ताव नियमानुकूल प्रतीत नहीं होता है। एक माननीय सदस्य श्री ललित यादव जी द्वारा दिया गया, जो अब माननीय मंत्री हैं, जिसमें वह वर्णित है कि आप विश्वास मत खो चुके हैं, ये मुझे सही लगा। लेकिन मुझ पर अन्य आरोप जो कुछ माननीय सदस्यों द्वारा लगाया गया है, मनमानी करने का, कार्यशैली और व्यवहार अलोकतांत्रिक रखने का, तानाशाही प्रवृत्ति का, माननीय सदस्य खासकर श्री चंद्रशेखर जी, जो अब माननीय शिक्षा मंत्री हैं, उन्होंने कहा कि मुझसे गौरवशाली परंपरा शर्मसार हुआ। माननीय सदस्यगण, 20 माह के बहुत छोटे से कार्यकाल में मैं सदन में 100% प्रश्नों के उत्तर का आने
Live updates there from the Bihar Vidhan Sabha. Prakash Singh, our senior editor, Special Projects, has been continuously in touch with the top political leaders. Politically, it's a very important day for the Bihar Vidhan Sabha. The floor test of the newly formed Mahagathbandhan government set to take place today in just a short while from now. Meanwhile, there's high drama outside the assembly. As you can see, BJP workers protesting there. And well, with various banners, very interesting banners. We were showing you those in our visuals a short while back, as Nitish Kumar, through a single decision, topples his functioning government and joins hands with the RJD. Now, RJD leaders under the scanner, top leaders, Sunil Singh among them, very close aide of Lalu Yadav. In fact, as Prakash was just telling us, one of his closest aides. It's the land for jobs scam here under investigation by the CBI that is the focus. And so a mega crackdown on corruption on one side, and breaking news coming in now. Shravan telling us about all that's happening in this mega crackdown of the CBI in Patna even as we speak. Shravan, it's over to you. Well, the assembly has convened as far as latest reports are coming in, and we were just bringing you those visuals live from inside. But now, so many back-to-back developments. As Shravan was just telling us, we're trying to get in touch with him, and he has all the details, all the updates as they're happening, along with Prakash Singh, who's our senior editor on the ground there in Patna. Shravan, mega raids, mega crackdown on corruption, even as politically, on the other hand, a very important day inside the Vidhan Sabha. It's over to you to take us from here on.
Well, in fact, Rukmini, is bound to have some sort of a political repercussion, given the fact that what we have seen over the last few months, in fact, that opposition parties have been training their guns at
Right, Shravan, and now, as far as we know, 5 of Lalu's very close aides, his inner circle, can we say, under the CBI lens. And mega crackdown on one side, protests on the other. The BJP protesting outside the assembly, inside the assembly, the all-important and very crucial floor test that the Mahagathbandhan government, the newly formed Mahagathbandhan government with the Congress, the RJD and the JDU, the allies. RJD, a major faction in that Mahagathbandhan government. Now, the inner circle, Lalu Prasad Yadav's inner circle, under the CBI scanner. Sunil Singh among them, RJD MLC, other MPs also under the scanner, private secretaries, and more names could crop up. This is the land for jobs scam you're talking about, and since this morning we've seen mega action against corruption in the Bihar capital as the CBI cracks down and conducts raids across various locations in Patna and in fact in Katihar as well. And although the RJD is crying foul with the usual claims of being harassed. And Shravan once again with us. Shravan, what breaking updates do you have? Also, a recap of the events, the significance of whatever's been happening in the Bihar capital since this morning.
Well, in fact, Rukmini, let me start with the latest news now coming in. 24 locations where these searches are being carried out. As of now, we're not very sure whether these 24 locations are all within the state of Bihar or it could be outside. That confirmation yet to come in from our sources within the Central Bureau of Investigation. But what we can tell our viewers is that now this has gone beyond Lalu Prasad Yadav's family members. In fact, we are picking up that RJD leaders' private secretaries are also under the scanner. The reason being that between 2004 and 2009, when Lalu Prasad Yadav was the railway minister, there have been other RJD leaders who have essentially played a crucial role in the land for job scam. What exactly is the scam all about? This was basically the recruitment drive that was being carried out by the railway ministry. Undeserving candidates landed up with a job at the railway ministry, the Group D and the Group C staff members. In fact, it was Lalu Prasad Yadav's close aides, Bhola Yadav, who was collecting these applications from the candidates, that too at the official residence of Lalu Prasad Yadav and Rabri Devi. And it doesn't end there. We are given to understand in return, these undeserving candidates were actually giving out gifts in the form of land